Right, this video is going to be a bit of a reenactment of what happened yesterday. I parked my car where that white van is, right underneath that CCTV camera. That I wanted just to check the signage, make sure that the data controller is written on there. Let's have a look. This organisation operates CCTV surveillance, unrecorded, contact, phone number, yeah, and so yeah, that sign is correct according to the Data Protection Act, because they've got to say who the data controller is. So I'm not here looking for aggro or looking for to provoke a reaction from them. I've got my Canon with me, minus the tripod. So I just want to take an interest, see if the police are still patrolling around in that area, see if there is a security gate person that I can talk to about how to get the CCTV footage from that camera, which is now behind me, that followed me back to my car. And yes, I know I shouldn't have parked the car right underneath one of their cameras, but yesterday is done. There's a couple of other things I want to take some pictures of as well, but they're on the other side of the road, so it's going to be a bit of a walk to get over there. If I do speak to the security people, I'll see if what information I can get out of them about the police presence here yesterday. And this is all I did yesterday. I just walked along here with my camera on the tripod. It's an impressive looking building, isn't it? Not wrong with taking any photographs of that. Apparently this isn't where they make jet engines, this is their nuclear offices, or whatever they do with nuclear things. And I'll show you exactly where I was stood yesterday and where the police parked up and where I was on the phone to Steph. Yeah, some security guy down at the gatehouse there, and if I do walk in there I'm going to turn the camera off. So yesterday was New Year's Day, really quiet, wasn't anywhere near the number of cars or people outside. There are some people outside at the minute smoking. Ah yeah, I can walk straight down to that security hut. Oh, don't get run over. So I came over here. I set my tripod down on the grass at this exact point here. Made a phone call to Steph, rolled a fag, and as I was on the phone, police turned up from here and parked up over there and came over for a chat with me. So I'm just going to go and turn this camera off now, and then I walked off. Well, when I told the police I'm not answering any more questions, I walked off back down that way that I came from. So I'm going to go in and speak to the security people now and see if I can see who the data controller is to get the information about the footage that they will have got of me yesterday. Right, there's no need for me to go in because he's come out to me. Hey up, you alright?
Yeah, fine.
I was here yesterday, stood with my camera and my tripod.
Yeah.
And police came.
Yeah.
And asked me a couple of questions, and I walked off back down in that direction. Now, as I was leaving, I saw that camera that was way down there.
That one there?
No, the one that's further down that looks over the car park.
Right.
And it was basically, monitoring my activities and where I was going.
Yeah.
So I've come here today to ask, how do I go about retrieving that footage from that camera, please?
So,
if you just bear with me, what's your name, sir?
Matt. Matt.
I think they'll come down anyway, and they'll probably answer your question for you.
Right.
What are you doing anything today? Are you filming or anything today?
I'm just recording on this, so I've got
So that's recording at the moment.
This is recording at the moment, and just so I've got an accurate record of what's being said and who by.
Okay.
And other than that, no.
Right. No, I understand. I understand what you're asking.
It was interesting that police came so quickly. I'm not sure if you guys reported me for something as being suspicious, or whether they were on a patrol, but the police told me that the guy copper said we're security for the building, and I thought that was interesting.
Right. Well, I can't sort of speak for them really.
Right.
You know,
obviously you're security, aren't you?
of this site.
Yeah.
One of the security chaps of this site. Yeah. It's basically once you're on this site of that red line.
Right.
There's
okay.
no filming well, it's prohibited.
Right. Just so there's no grey area, I'm going to go and stand behind that red line. Yeah.
I'll just see.
Quite happy to chat though, you know.
Pardon?
Quite happy to carry on chatting. I'll just get up behind here.
But I know that they've noted it down.
Right.
That you came. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
So I wasn't here yesterday, but the people that are probably still here.
Okay.
So if I can get to talk to them on the radio,
right.
I know I've just heard that they were talking to the police whether they wanted to come down and have a chat with you, but I can find that out. If you want to just wait around.
The thing is, I was literally just stood there. I hadn't set my camera up, I hadn't switched it on, and boom, police are there instantly.
Well, it's just security measures, that's all. You just don't know why you're doing that, so he'll generally just talk to you and find out what you're doing, why you're doing it. Basically, because it's all prohibited for this site, as in filming and camera work.
Yeah, sure.
That's all. You know, we get a bit twitchy. That's all. But I'll get them to come and have a chat.
And this is the place where you do nuclear things, not the engine place,
I can't
is it?
discuss anything.
Right, sure.
Anything.
But
like
it clearly says on your website that this is a nuclear.
Well, whatever
thing,
it says on the website, that's up to you. But I can't discuss anything. All right. So just let me go and get hold of them. Are you staying here, Matt?
Yeah, I'll stay here.
Okay. Do you obviously want to see if you can get the footage?
Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
All right.
What a nice enough chap. I think he was saying there he doesn't know whether he wants their security people to come out to me or for the police to come and have a chat. So that red line is the boundary. If anybody does come down here taking pictures of the building. And here's the police.
Yeah, there.
Hey up.
Hey.
You're the chap I spoke to yesterday?
No, I'm not, unfortunately.
Right.
Who did you speak to yesterday?
Don't know, I was basically just walking along Rainsway with my tripod yesterday, and I set it up on the grass just over the way there.
Okay.
And two cops turned up in the car, asked me a few questions, and I just left. And Rolls Royce's CCTV cameras were basically monitoring, surveillancing me all the way back down to my car.
Okay.
And I've just popped here today to ask them how I go about retrieving that footage under the Data Protection Act.
So you are Freedom of Information Act?
Yeah.
So...
Data Protection Act.
Similar. Right, have you managed to speak to anyone and ask them how they Rolls Royce obtain them?
Yeah, this chap in the high vis here, he's
sorting it out.
He's just said something over there.
Can I just take your name? Because obviously I didn't see you yesterday or anything. Just take your name.
I don't give my information out, I'm afraid. Again, I'm really cautious about data breaches on my information. So.
Right. Okay then.
Do you need me at all? No,
not at the moment.
You alright?
And bearing in mind I haven't done anything wrong, you know, I don't feel the need to give him my name.
Is there any reason why you've chosen to start turning up here with your cameras?
Yesterday, I was walking along here looking for something of interest to film, and I set my camera tripod down on there, not even pointing at this place, and police turned up.
You may not be pointing it at this place, but the fact that you're in this area with a camera is obviously going to be of concern.
This is what I said to...
But that's why there's a big sign there saying CCTV cameras are there for operation around the site, so you're going to be picked up. If you point a camera at us, we're going to be concerned that you're doing something.
But the point is, I didn't take any pictures. I didn't point the camera.
Nobody's saying you did, and nobody's saying you pointed it. What we're
you just said
you could have been.
You pointed cameras.
It would have took you seconds to turn that camera around. Is what we're saying is.
Would have done.
It would have done, but at the time nobody knew whether you had or you hadn't. You could quite easily have been taking photographs all the way down the road. You're obviously wearing a GoPro, so you could quite easily be filming us now. What we're saying is, what is the reason why you would want to keep coming back to this area to keep taking photographs?
It's not a repeated pattern of behaviour.
Well, it was because you were here yesterday.
It's once when I came.
Twice, so that's repeated.
It's once when I came yesterday, and as I just explained to you, man, when you weren't here,
well, there you go.
I've popped down here to ask for the CCTV footage of those cameras that were following me right back down to my car. Well, and that's the reason for my presence here.
Well, unfortunately, you'd have to do that in writing anyway, and there's no way they're going to give you that over during the day, because that's not the way it works.
Well, I've just spoken to him. He said he's going to find out the information for who I need to contact.
I know even we can't get access to that straight away because there's only certain people who can access it. But because you came yesterday potentially to take photographs, if you're then seen in the area, they're then going to be concerned that you may well be going to take photographs.
I asked the guy yesterday, you know, is the presence of my camera enough to, what did I say to him? You know, do you perceive this camera as a threat to the building? And he muttered something and went off back to his car, and then I just left.
Well, this whole site's covered by SOCAP, so technically you're not meant to be taking photographs of any of the sites because it's all protected.
It's protected by what?
SOCAP, Serious and Organised Crime Act.
Because of what it's licensed to do, you're not allowed to take photographs of it, but you could stand on there and take photographs of the wildlife and anything else, but the minute you take photographs of it, you would find that there could be an issue with you.
But it wouldn't filming. If I'd set my tripod up on that public right of way there and took a photograph of that building, no law would be broken there.
Potentially not, but you may find that,
definitely not.
But the police would have the right to ask what you would need to take photographs for.
Anybody can come and ask me.
You're quite right. Anybody going down the road could take photographs of it.
And anybody can come and ask me, but it's the way some people ask, you know, they get shirty, they get angsty.
We're not, at the end of the day, trying to cause any issues with you. We're just curious as to why, and it is now 2 days on the trot, you've come to this area with a camera.
With a valid reason now that I've just explained.
No, you only had the valid reason when you turned up today, because you said they followed you when you turned up today. So why did you park on that car park today and park and walk down there?
Because it's a convenient place to park.
Biggest well, the fact is, if
I can't park here because it's all yellow lines up.
But it's a convenient place to park for what? What are you visiting the cricket club
to come
for?
Here.
No, you said you were coming here to ask for the footage when the camera moved to see you today. But if you didn't park
I didn't say that at all. The camera yesterday, their cameras yesterday, followed me all the way back down there, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Well, and it watched me, it was pointing right down at my car. So this is why I'm here again, just to ask, how do I go about getting that information?
Well, I would suggest that's probably going to be in writing to the head of Rolls Royce Security.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they say when they come out.
Well, the fact is, if that's all you've come for today, is to obtain the information to get it, why have you had to bring all your cameras out?
Well, that's recording because I want an accurate record of what's being said and by who, every single time I come out. And that's here, but I might go off somewhere else and take some pictures. I might stand on that grassy road over there and take some pictures of this building. I was also interested in if those guys that were here yesterday were patrolling,
the police officers,
acting as security that you told me for this place, whether they had their body cameras running, because I'd like the footage off those cameras as well, if they had them running. I didn't notice, I wasn't here long enough to take much notice of it.
Was it similar car to this what pulled up?
Maybe a bit smaller.
So we only have this car, so if it's us, then we don't carry body cameras.
Right.
Because of the fact that we can't have cameras recording in the site, so that's why we won't have body cameras.
Right, okay.
I'm pretty sure it would have been one of us guys that turned up, so unfortunately there's nothing you could request because we don't physically have cameras for you to request anything for that. Are you from the local area, as in Derby?
Yeah.
I know you don't want to give out specifics, but I'm just asking. Derby's a
I'm local, yeah. I'm local.
yeah.
All they're saying is, if you want to request a copy of the CCTV, it's to the head of security at Rolls Royce in writing.
Yeah. Okay.
So the security guard won't be telling you any more than that. They both work in the same office where our bosses are and their bosses are.
Right. Have they got an email address that I can use?
I don't know of what it is. I would say writing is probably your best bet.
It'll be in writing.
I mean, if you go on the Rolls Royce website, there might be, but it's just in writing.
I didn't see anything on there about their about subject
well, there might
access
be
or anything like that. It's only now that I've seen this phone number for information, so I'll give that one a try.
If that's what you're after, then that's, at the end of the day, it's not the security guard now who would provide it anyway. It's going to be his bosses or the admin staff or whatever it is.
Sure.
And I know even we struggle to get copies of
those
stuff
are the
like
guys I've come to see. So
I don't know of your reasons and motives, but no, we're not here to obviously cause an issue. Obviously, this whole area is a sensitive area. That's the reason why.
Everywhere, what I'm finding, especially from last year, almost everywhere you go now, someone is going to come out. If you're taking pictures from a public road, public street, somebody is going to come out. And sometimes people will interact with you on a really cool level. Some of them will come out barking, saying you can't do this, you can't do that, and threatening to call police and all this.
A lot of people is they always instantly think that you're up to no good, when actually you may be.
You
may be a bird spotter, and there could be a woodpecker. Do you know what I mean?
This is the point exactly.
And I think if you're certainly if you're hanging around a car park or a private estate, people automatically think you must be a burglar, you must be a criminal, you must be whatever else. We know you're not, because you've got photography written on your back. You're not hiding who you are and what you're doing, but the site is sensitive to, you could be doing reconnaissance of the area. Why? What are your reasons?
Hostile reconnaissance.
Do you see what I mean?
That's a big buzzword.
That's the reason we get involved, is because people go, well, yeah, but you could be selling your images to a third party. You could be, but if you're not pointing it at us, when we come here and chat to you, we know you're not doing that. But at the moment they ring us up and say somebody's got a camera, they're on the gate, we'll always be sent. And that's just one of those things. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's all I can recommend.
You guys yesterday said, in this brief interaction out of them, we're asking you because we are security for this building. And that was like, well, and I thought about it later, I thought, are Rolls Royce hiring the police? Are they paying the police?
No, it's nothing it's not actually anything to do with Rolls Royce, it's to do with what this place does. And it's not Derbyshire Police, by the way.
Right, and what are you guys? Where are you from?
Ministry of Defence.
Alright, okay.
If you appreciate what Rolls Royce does, that's why this is covered by various other things.
So this isn't the engines place, this is a nuclear thing, isn't it?
I'm not going to tell you what it is and it isn't, but there's reasons why, which is why you're allowed to go so far. And you're right, as
your man's just said to me, you know, the red line, the red line's the border.
Actually, I've just said there's nothing here that you can walk down this footpath to go to town. There's nothing that is clear that says you're not allowed to cross it, because obviously you are allowed to cross it, but you're not allowed to film within it. That's the difference. And we would only be concerned about you realistically if you parked up there and wanted to film people coming in and out, because you're doing it for a reason, aren't you? And if you said whatever those reasons are, I mean, you might be monitoring traffic, that's not my bag.
But as a photographer, I would have the absolute right to do that, even if I wanted to. I know it would be a provocative. It would be a provocative act.
It wouldn't be up to us to decide whether you have or you haven't. It would be up to someone else to say, but where are your images going? Where are you downloading those images to? And that's the problem we've got is, if you were, let's say you were downloading to a website, someone else could use your photographs for the reconnaissance side of it.
Yeah,
that would be the worrying thing.
Is it an offence to take? No, what I'm saying is somewhere in some act or something, it's an offence to take photographs of police that would be likely to be of use to a terrorist or something like that.
And that's the problem, that you're starting to verge on the Terrorism Act, which it's not for me to decide whether that will or will not go that way, but the worrying thing is it could be. Do you see what we're trying to say? Is we don't want those images of what goes on in any area where there is sensitive things to get into the wrong hands. So you may have no problem with what you're doing and you are genuinely doing it for your reasons.
If you look at something like Google Earth, I can well imagine that their car has been driving down here, and all of that will be available on the internet.
As well as I do, that Google Earth's probably got absolutely everything on this site on it, and that is another huge problem for the whole way that you want to protect.
And that's considered a problem.
Well, it's considered for a lot of people it's a problem, but it doesn't seem to be able to stop it, because it still happens everywhere, doesn't it, unfortunately?
Because it's taken from a public space, isn't it?
It's also taken from... Nobody can block out a satellite at the end of the day taking photographs.
Yeah, I'm on about the cars that drive around, you know, with the cameras on.
Yeah, those cameras, I mean, they've got fantastic images, haven't they? 360 degrees, and it takes on everything. Obviously, certain areas they can't get on, though, in the Google Earth stuff, but there's a lot of stuff, obviously, is videoed from other means. We can't really be any more helpful than that, other than if you want it, by all means try and apply for it. You may meet two more Bobbies another day if you come back. You won't necessarily meet the same ones. What can I can't advise you anymore at the end of the day. Certainly, every time you turn up, somebody's going to come and chat to you, just because they've got to check you haven't or you're not taking photographs for other means. If somebody then wants to do or speak to you on another level, then that will, that's up to them. Yeah. But all our response is because you could be, and obviously it's the security guard's job to provide security.
Because I could be, So it's interesting that, and a lot of photographers that I know all over the country, they are getting this. You are treated with suspicion.
I think it's
until you're expected to give an account for yourself.
I think the unfortunate thing is, if you take it another stage further, when there has been acts of terrorism, a lot of the time the terrorists have done hostile reconnaissance. They have videoed it, so it's a known use of their resources, and that doesn't mean that every photographer is a terrorist, by no means of the imagination. But it is what they tend to do before they mount any attack. Our job is to provide security for this base, so by protecting it, we're always going to come into conflict with somebody who's taking photographs at the end of the day. Hopefully that may be of some use to you, but I know it's probably not a lot.
I've been to enough places. I mean, you film, say on Pride Park, car sales garage, Ford place. Guy comes out, me and a friend of mine, getting reflections out the glass of the football ground, which is behind us, and they all approach you there, coming out shouting, barking orders. You can't do this. And it's private property and all the rest of it.
Because they're just like, they don't want anyone in there for any reason. And it's like, well, actually, you're quite right. There isn't actually any grounds to stop me taking photographs. And because it's Pride Park and like the velodrome, there are interesting photographs to be had in that area. I wouldn't, say there's not a lot. Really.
And any building can be of interest to any photographer.
Yeah, especially with the way that the light hits it and things like that. There can be, different things, but for me, there isn't.
Yesterday would have been an half decent shot over that, or the way the sun was dropping over that building just there, from there. But I just thought, well, I'm not going to be hanging around here being questioned by police when I've done absolutely nothing wrong, so I just walked off and left.
and at least it's not raining. All right, as far as I'm concerned, you know, there is no issues. It's just there isn't any answer to your query. All right, then.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. Cheers, chaps. See if their cameras follow me this time. That one isn't. It's that one that was down there that followed me right back into my car.